The most popular podcasts on Spotify are now on public display. Getting your show listed on that page could be a huge boon, but are you willing to pay the steep price? Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. Spotify has now made their podcast ranking charts available via a public web page. It's the same data that you've been able to access before by logging into the app or on your mobile device, and I think on your desktop as well. But it no longer requires you to be logged into that device or that system or that service. It's now on public display. You just go to a website, which of course will be linked in the episode details here. Now, it's a pretty clear and very bold push by Spotify, who has been very clear and very bold in their push into podcasting since 2019, further solidifying themselves as the authority in podcasting. This is the public available ranking. That's what they want all of us to buy into. And if not us, that's what they want the general public to buy into. We are the arbiters of what is top and most popular. So should you and me and every other podcaster out there, the working podcaster, should we play along with this? Well, maybe. Let's talk about the way this chart works. Charting is always kind of a gray box. We know a little bit about what goes into the ranking factors and algorithms, but not everything. According to Spotify, they've given us some good data, or good information, I should say. They say that getting a show ranked, or also an episode, they do top episodes as well, getting a show and or episode ranked is basically a factor of two things. One, how many followers that show has on Spotify. And number two, the number of times somebody plays an episode or that episode of that particular show. But now, so again, that's size of the audience and play activity. But let me repeat, only on Spotify. Number of followers of that show on Spotify, number of plays through the Spotify app. Spotify only knows Spotify data. They know a lot of Spotify data, but it's only their people, only Spotify users influence the Spotify podcast ranking charts. Now, that's some 350 million people who use Spotify on a regular basis. Only about 25% of those are avid listeners to podcasts, or even at all listeners to podcasts, based on some info Spotify gave us a few months ago. So 25%, 350, that's around 80 million people. So that's a pretty large sample size. That's a lot of people listening. And because it's such a large sample size, that's why when you look at Spotify's top podcast rankings and compare them to Apple's top rankings, they're fairly close. I didn't see any outliers. I didn't spend a lot of time digging, but they looked like the same shows were there, just in different positions, plus or minus 5 or 6. They were all around the same thing. Broadly speaking, same as Apple charts. So they're probably as accurate as Apple's charts, which also, by the way, only track activity done through Apple Podcasts. All right. But there's clearly what the podcast charts want us to do is two things. Push hard to get there. And a lot of people are going to say, hey, push hard to get there because you're going to get a whole lot more people downloading a show if you're on these charts. And I don't know that I can argue for or against that, but I just want to say that the person that these charts serve first and foremost, is Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or anybody else who comes along and makes a ranking. The primary benefactor of these ranking charts are the organizations doing the ranking themselves. And that's very clear. That's not me going, oh, what an amazing thing. Look, the way you get better rankings is by convincing people to follow you and listen to your show on that platform. That's it. It's the only way you can do it. So clearly, the more you push to get on top of that ranking, that means you're causing more people to listen to you on that device and follow you on that particular app and service. That's what they want you to do. It's them. They are the benefactors, not necessarily you. Maybe if you make it to the charts, but it's the benefactors of millions of podcasters We have millions. Well, more than 1 million podcasters, let's say, telling all other friends, oh my God, switch, start listening on this app. Big deal for that app. Not so much a big deal for that podcaster. I have 2 predictions that are going to come out of this new Spotify ranking. Well, I guess 3. Number 1 is they're not going to be the last one. Expect lots of different app services, apps, directories to come out with their top rankings, because why not? It benefits them, like I said. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is we'll see chart monitoring services. We already have chart monitoring services. They are now going to incorporate Spotify's data. So you can subscribe via email and get a notification every day that your podcast goes up and down the charts, or when it finally makes an appearance on the charts, if it ever makes an appearance on the chart. There will be services out there. Scrape this page and report back to you, the podcaster, how you're doing. That's an easy guess. Number 3 prediction is maybe by the weekend, we'll start getting spam emails from people saying, I can get you to the top of the charts in Spotify. That's what happens when you have rankings. There are people out there, unscrupulous people out there, who will find ways to manipulate it. And this one's relatively easy to manipulate. Make an account, attach it to a SIM card in a country that has really cheap phones and really cheap data rates to do various things. And we've seen it before with Apple Podcasts. We'll see it again with Spotify. We're going to see people out there gaming the system. So expect some change on those charts as gamers jump in the system. Anyhow, what does all this mean for the average podcaster? Or not just the average podcaster, 95% of podcasters. I don't think it means all that much, in all honesty. You got to remember, these lists are top level only, and they're dominated by shows that have big followings already on Spotify. That's a lot of work to bust through that. I'm talking several tens of thousands of dollars worth of a marketing plan. If you've got a marketing plan for your podcast that includes several tens of thousands of dollars to promote your podcast, then you should absolutely get in touch with Spotify. They would love to help you break into the ranks, because when you spend all that money, you're going to tell people, listen to the show on Spotify. Doing branding for them, of course they'll spend money. Apple will do the exact same thing. Remember, these charts benefit the chart makers more than anyone else. The only thing you might consider is where Spotify shows up in your listing on your website of follow the show on these platforms, or maybe you still say subscribe to the show on these platforms. Where does Spotify show up? Now, I moved Spotify to the first place earlier this year. Last year? I don't remember. Go to podcastpontifications.com and you see the list of all the places you can subscribe. I've got Spotify listed first because of the moves they're making into the space. They're clearly trying to dominate. I wanted to make sure that I get that attention first and foremost. Not really promoting them, but just having it there as the first option, just in case somebody doesn't recognize the other icons on the page. So here's an idea for you. Do the same thing, but not to me. Visit the homepage of a friend of yours or in podcasting, or somebody you want to be a friend of yours in podcasting. Visit their homepage and see where they list the Spotify follow/subscribe/listen button. And then send them a link to this episode and say, here's why it's important for that to be first. Maybe you'll become that person's new best friend. Converse amongst yourselves about the best way to promote without doing that much promotion for Spotify. It's extending the olive branch. Always a nice thing to do. And if you like the ideas that I had to say here on the program, please go to buymeacoffee.com/evoterra and slide a virtual coffee my way. That's always nice. No shows on Friday from me, so you enjoy your weekend, and I shall be back on Monday with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers.